G'day everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a updated look at a video I did last year, and that was this video, as you can see up on screen. That was my top mods for 2022. Obviously now we are in the grand old year of 2023, and there's been some changes to some mods, and there has been some updates as well. So I'm going to essentially redo this list now, and I'm going to explain to you what I think the best mods you should be running in 2023 for World of Warships are. Now, one of the questions I have heard a couple times throughout the comments is, am I allowed to be using all these mods? Is there anything illegal about it? From Aslane, no issues whatsoever. I have confirmed with Aslane himself through his Discord, you are more than fine to be using any of these mods. It has been completely verified by Wargaming for official use. So you have no issues with running Aslane if you're worried about any of the legalities regarding that. If you prefer to use ModStation, go right ahead. That is the one developed by Wargaming themselves. However, I prefer Aslane just because it has a much wider variety of different modifications that you can use. In saying that, let's get right into it. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead to the download page. I will link it once again in the description. And you're going to go down to where you see this button here with the main download link for the current patch, whatever it might be. Going to go ahead here and you're going to hit save. That's going to download. And once that is downloaded, what we're going to do here, as soon as it finishes, I'm going to open it up. If you get something like this, don't stress, just hit more info, run anyway. It's just because it's an unknown developer. Select the checkbox that does appear, and we're going to select, obviously we want this in English. I'm just going to hide the background. I'm going to hit OK here, or whatever language you want to install the program with. Let the software initialize and check for updates. If there is the latest update, you can go ahead and download that. It will take you straight to the download page. Select next, next, next. Make sure the folder is correctly selected for wherever you are installing Aslane. So for me, it's under my F drive, games, Wargaming, World of Warships Asia, because I play on the Asia server. If you play on NA, it should say World of Warships NA or World of Warships EU. So just make sure you're selecting the correct server, hit next, and boom, we're right here. So this has already got my mods auto selected. So let's just run through some of the ones that are most important. So just let me select this, and we're gonna go down. First one we're going to talk about is the side panels by BADoBEST, and I like these ones because just being able to quickly and visually see on the side of your screen, for example, how much HP, say, either your team has or the enemy team has on their specific ships, really quite useful, and I just like to have that. There is more settings in there as well, such as seeing what some of the main caliber firepower is, their torpedoes, very useful stuff. You don't need to have all of them on, you can disable some of those in game. However, I just prefer it just mainly for the team HP there. Scrolling down, I like this one here, the Team HP Plus, and that's just pretty much a sum of the entire team's HP stuck at the top of the screen, and you can customize that as you wish. Markers, I like to have here the Consumables Monitor. This is one of the best ones in my opinion, and that's useful for team play. Why do I say this? In the two screenshots you can see here, in the top screenshot, when you're not holding down any key, you can currently see that the Henry IV is using both his speed boost and his heal. If you hold the Alt key down, in the bottom screenshot, what you'll see is, for example, with the damage control and how that has an orange number, what that means is he's got his damage control is on cooldown for another 33.4 seconds in this situation. Whilst his Alt key is still held down, your Alt key is still held down, you can see that his defensive fire and his speed boost are currently running as their numbers are indicated in green. And you can see, for example, his speed boost has got 69.3 seconds remaining before that does expire, and the number of charges left associated with that. When it says RDY on his main battery reload booster, that just means he's got the consumable at the ready, and the X4 obviously means he's got 4 of those remaining. And the final one across there, you can see his heal. He's got another 76 remaining before he can pop that again, and he's only got 2 heals left. Very useful one, and I do love having this one. Very useful for stuff such as ranked or even clan battles. Highly recommended. Numerical capture time on objectives. I do like this one, just so you know, for example, how long an enemy destroyer might have to sit and cap before it's completely captured. It might mean you have just enough time to get into there, or when you might need to throw a last minute blind fire to make sure your shells hit and reset. Just gives a little bit of a good indication, and I do like to have that. This one's not so as important, but it just shows you in a straight line essentially what your current speed is, how long it'll take you to get to the capture point. Can be useful, not hugely, but I do like to have it. Regen Monitor is quite useful to have. What it does is you can see there's a little white HP bar there, well, sliver of HP in addition to his normal HP. What that shows you is the amount of HP he can heal when his heal next comes back up. Very, very nice one to have, and it just allows for a little bit of extra team play dynamics. Spotted indicator. This one I really like having, particularly on, say, your allied destroyers, because, for example, if you in this situation here, if the Minsk wasn't spotted and all of a sudden your little get spotted, either someone's within his detection range, or maybe someone's popping radar or something along those lines. Can be useful to just work out where some enemy ships are and what kind of ship it might be. Scrolling down, advanced torpedo marker. Obviously, with the introduction of submarines in 2022, we've had the homing torpedoes properly introduced. So with this one, what that shows you is when homing torpedoes come in towards your ship, there is a certain radius around your ship in which they will stop homing and they will just travel on a straight path. What this will do is it'll change its indicator and tell you when the torpedo has stopped that homing trajectory and is going to continue a straight line. So that way you don't accidentally, say, overturn back into that torpedo once it's stopped its homing. Very useful. I do like having this one. Ship movement indicator is another great one. Whilst you can obviously use the smoke funnels coming from enemy ships to determine which direction they are going, it's not always completely obvious, and it's kind of useful, say, when they're hiding behind islands, to just work out, hey, which direction they're exactly going. I do like this, and there's some customizations available with this one. In terms of crosshairs, I think the Nomogram Classic and Modern is hugely important, just because, well, it is obviously a dynamic one, and it is updated so the ticks along the bottom there are much more accurate and make a fair bit more sense compared to the one Wargaming has in the normal client. I like this one. There's obviously a fair different crosshairs that you can use, but that's the one I prefer running. Scrolling all the way down through here, plenty of options you are more than welcome to choose, but I prefer going all the way down through here. Compass elements, this one's not hugely important. It really doesn't offer any gameplay advantage or anything. I just like it because it looks cool. Completely optional. The most important one for me is this minimap by BattleFrame. Now, what that does is it shows you the radar circles on both your friendly team and, say, the enemy team when you're holding down Alt, and it's really quite a nice one. So you can work out how far away your ships are for radar coverage. Really quite useful. Advanced attention marker, that just shows you when someone pings on the map. It shows you as well in the 3D space. If you think people are pinging too much, you can disable this one. I like it because it's useful for clan wars and for that kind of team play dynamic. Tech tree, I like to have all ships in the vertical tech tree. Keeps the normal tech tree and then shows you every other ship that exists in the game files. So for example, if you want to take a look at, say, Kronstadt's armor scheme, you're not able to easily view that because it just doesn't exist as part of the tech tree. So you can click onto this, have a look and see what the armor scheme actually looks like, and get a fair bit more details through ships that aren't currently available. I do like this one. Highly recommended. Server population and resources. Server population isn't as important in my opinion, but it is good to know just to see how many players are on the server. The most important one being the resources, because being able to quickly see how much coal and steel you have up at the top of the screen without having to access the armory makes life just that little bit easier. Scrolling all the way through here. Not a huge amount of that customization. The one I will talk about though is Battle Expert. I do like this one because it shows you the angling of enemy ships in contrast to yours. And why is that useful? For example, if you're, say, in a Des Moines, for example, you have got like increased ricochet angles. You can start with your AP. You can work out just looking at this a little bit easier. hey, can I actually pen this armor with my AP, or do I need to be switching to HE? And you can do this with a variety of, well, pretty much all ships that shoot AP anyways, and just start calculating the best ammo in which situation you might need. It's also a little bit easier as well to determine which way they are turning in or turning out. So I do like this one quite a fair bit. You can just customize the position of it, whether it be in the center, the right side, down where the compass is. That's up to you. I just got emblems. That's completely optional to you. I like the fighter assistant, and what that does is it shows you how many fighters you got left on each of your squadrons. So in this example here, in the bottom screenshot, you can see, hey, the rockets are out of fighters, it's empty. The dive bombers in this situation here, they are at the ready. There's one fighter left. For the tactical squadron there, you can see planes there, there's a 4-second cooldown before they can be called back again, and there's 2 of those squadrons available. And in the top screenshot there, I don't know how easily you can see, but the dive bombs there, the dive bomber fighters have got 10 seconds left, and there's one of those consumables left after that. It's a nice little one if you're trying to work out, like obviously spotting with your planes, or if you're playing some of the CVs that actually do have decent fighters, you can start working on how you can best help your allies. Other really important ones, score timer. This one doesn't really need much introduction to people. It is such a fantastic tool to work out what you might need to do and how, well, it's a fantastic resource for determining what kind of state your team is in, the enemy team is in. Do you need to be playing aggressively for the caps? Do you maybe just need to sit and hold and defend them? Very, very useful for obviously determining how the game plays out. Shot timer is one that is hugely beneficial to all ships. So instead of having to like roughly count down in your head the 20 seconds from when you are spotted to when you won't be spotted, it will literally count it down for you on screen. And I really, really like having that visual indicator there. So you don't have to play this little guessing game in your head. It's like, come on, when's another 3 seconds? It's another 5 seconds, 4 seconds. No, it'll literally tell you you've got another 5 seconds left until you go unspotted. Really quite useful. Radar timer I like as well. For example, if there's 2 enemy ships on the enemy team, say there's a Des Moines and a Stalingrad that can both radar you, for example. If you get within radar, say there's a Des Moines and a Stalingrad on the enemy team, someone pops radar, you won't know who. Depending on how long that radar duration lasts for, you can work out which ship has popped his radar. If it's a long duration radar, like on the, you'll know, hey, the Des Moines popped his radar. But if it doesn't last for nearly quite so long, you'll be able to say, hey, I think the Stalingrad's actually just popped his radar. So it is quite useful for those kind of scenarios, and just, I really like having that one in general. Clock and battle, completely optional. I just like to have what the actual time is going down. I like to have this improved chat. It just makes things a little bit easier when you're trying to work out who's actually talking to you and what they're trying to say, what ship they're in. It just makes life a little bit easier for me to quickly read. I think that might be just about most of the mods. The rest of these are mainly like skins and sound mods. I don't think I really use too much of them. Obviously, I'm more than welcome to do so. If you want to say, go ahead and put Stukas on the Graf Zeppelin, they're quite cool to add. Cargo, if you want her historical planes, for example. Sharks, if you want submarines with the shark tooth painting, they look quite cool as well. So you can customize a few of those if you want to. I like to, if I am alt tabbing, because I do have 2 monitors and I do like to alt tab a little bit. So this one, I just like to have that. Removing limit of max replays and enable version replays folder is just a convenience for me as a bit of a content creator. Completely optional, but I just like to have that going forward. And I think that's just about it. I will quickly mention matchmaking monitor and potato alert. Now, I personally have a distaste for these kind of mods, because I think it just leads to a lot of toxicity in a game where it really doesn't need it. Just when you see, for example, on your team, you'll have, I'm sure people have all seen this happen before, where you've had one person say, screw this team, you're all a bunch of potatoes, whatever, and just rage quits because they've got one of these mods open, and all of a sudden you see, hey, your team is full of quote unquote bad players, and they will not help, they will not try. it just leads to a lot of toxicity going in it. Sure, there is situations where, like, if you are looking from a positive mindset where you're like, hey, okay, my team's not nearly as good as the opposition, what have I got to do to try and carry harder? But it's, in general, I've just found it not to be good in terms of well, general attitude. So I encourage people to just leave these alone and just play at face value. Don't really care about your team going into it and just play the game. And that's just my little thoughts and opinions on that. Anyhow, once you've selected all the mods you want, you can add different mods or whatever. Go down to here where it says next. Remove all previous mods from the game, which is strongly advised. Next, and then you install. We'll run through all of the different installations. Once you've got all that installed, it should say you're finished, and there you have it. That's all your mods installed for 2023. I hope people enjoyed this. I hope people have found it useful. If you did, please obviously consider giving a like, subscribing, and let me know if there's any more of these kind of guides you guys want going forward in 2023. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace all.